So I'm in pre-op for my colonoscopy.
When did you get a colonoscopy?
A couple weeks ago. Where were you? I live streamed it.
Well, I don't get all your live streams, apparently.
Were you not one of the 13 subscribers?
This is why I don't belong to social media.
This is the hardest $4.95 I make every month. I'm in prep, and a nurse who I have yet to meet, who walks over before introducing herself to me, literally looks at me and she says, "You have amazing hair."
Well, you do.
Can I pet it? Oh. And I was like, who says no to this? I was like, of course you can pet it.
Why did she want to pet your hair?
I have no idea. Apparently I have amazing hair. The woman then proceeded to come over and pet me like a dog.
Oh, that's hilarious.
She's like, it is nice. It was lovely. This was like the last conscious memory I had before going sleepy time.
What a nice way to go under. Sure.
Yeah.
You go under feeling loved.
So anyway, so I'm scheduling for every 3 months for a colonoscopy.
Quiet, please.
Man, I woke up. I felt great. I was wearing pretty flashy clothes. I was at Rage down on Santa Monica Boulevard.
Are you sure you got a colonoscopy?
You know what? Now that I think about it was at the Abbey. That was a weird spot, I thought, for the colonoscopy. So now whenever I go into my PCP, I'm like, you never pet my hair. Never once.
I'm seeing other doctors because you don't pet my hair.
You go to my dentist, I'll be like, let me tell you a colonoscopy story.
Exactly.
When they pet my hair.
Let me tell you a service you guys aren't providing.
In 4.
Let's talk about your bedside manner and where it's really lacking.
2.
May I pet your hair?
Yes.
I've forgotten how to do this show.
I don't think I'd ever say no.
There's a thing you're supposed to yell here. Hang on. The Apple Company presents a truly terrible podcast. Welcome to Nonsense Season 3, Episode 52. I'm Jeff Parker.
I'm Chittle.
This is our take on the week's business, tech, and entertainment headlines. This time, no chips, no shield. Trump official demands Taiwan move half its production to the U.S. in exchange for protection against Chinese invasion.
I like that we're promoting this like it's a sign at Walmart. Like, no chips, no shield. No shirt, no shoes, no service.
OpenAI's safety pivot. They're finally introducing parental controls after a wrongful death suit.
I would have lost money on this one. I thought they'd take a page out of the meta book and just never get around to it.
Trump's new power play, turning TikTok into a MAGA machine.
Oh boy, I can't wait to see those dances.
Oh, I've seen them. They're not good. By the way, those dances caused your baseball team to lose.
We're not going to talk about the Tigers. 1-11.
Wrong way, Tesla. The company urging tired drivers to use self-driving is reckless.
Was this like the Tesla Clippy upsell?
Yes.
Dink, dink, dink. I see you're tired. Do you want to buy full self-driving?
Also, our big story later this week is the assault on reason, our war on science.
Oh yeah, if anybody needed to be tackled, it was the science. The science needs to be toppled.
It's International Podcast Day. In addition to doing our own podcast, I know you and I are both big fans of podcasts.
Yes.
Some of my favorites are Decoder, The Powers That Be, The Town, Pivot, Acquired, Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend, Smart List, goes on and on. What are your favorites?
I like this one show called Nonsense. You should check it out.
Who's on that?
Well, the problem is the two guys, you can't tell their voices apart, and one of them just drags on forever.
But how do you know which one then?
Well, that's the thing. Nobody knows.
It might be both of them dragging on forever.
Yeah, exactly. Who knows?
Speaking of dragging on forever, how's your week going?
Can't get any more out of that bit now, can we? My week has been lovely. I always appreciate when you ask.
Sure.
As you know, my children are getting bigger, mainly because I keep feeding them like an idiot.
Sure.
I feel like I should probably slow that down, and maybe they would be a little bit smaller. I set out on a mission to make them a bigger crafting area, because the current one they have is only 4 feet by 5 feet.
Tell me what a crafting area is.
It's like an area for them to do all their crafting projects. They've got a chomp saw, they've got hot glue guns, they've got glitter everything, they got all sorts of stuff.
Now I understand.
That's where they do their crafting. Sure. The problem is it's too low. So we wanted a taller, like an adjustable desk height around the same size, 4 feet by 5 feet.
Yes.
Somehow this ended up with a 4-hour trip to IKEA, where I was going between the desk section where there's adjustable legs and the countertop section because they need a more beefy countertop.
Sure.
Going back and forth. I almost bought a 125-pound chunk of wood from there to put legs on. I'm like, what am I doing? This is a terrible, terrible idea. During this time, my children were getting, what's the word? Restless.
Sure, hungry probably.
And hungry. Yeah. So then we had to go feed them Swedish meatballs, as many as they could eat. And I'm pretty sure they'd still be there eating those Swedish meatballs if I didn't take them away.
Delightful.
Yeah.
IKEA has really figured out how to make it so that even with hunger, you don't have to leave the building.
Yeah, they've done a great job because we would have left
100%.
Because the children were hungry. And I'm pretty sure this is going to show up on their bottom line for that store because whatever the loss leader calculation they had done for the meatballs, my kids skewed totally out of their favor as they were just munching down meatballs like Cookie Monster. It was a good time. We survived. I now have more furniture to assemble and install for my kids to then destroy.
Yes.
That is my plan. How about you? How's your week?
Well, I have a couple of things.
Yeah.
The third one's probably more important, but the first one is the power washer that you encouraged me to buy has arrived.
Oh, yes. I like to give you dangerous tools. You should also buy a welder next. A welder and a plasma cutter.
This thing is way smaller and way heavier, which I don't know how they do that.
Totally.
It's way smaller and way heavier than what I expected.
What it does shouldn't come out of a thing that small.
Yeah.
Like it's not proportionally correct.
The other thing is I've improved my tea, my morning tea.
With a power washer?
The kitchen's soaking wet, but boy, that tea is delicious.
I
No, actually, I
feel like I should have sent you some directions.
I got this infuser thing. It's instead of the ball where the tea is all clumped together. This infuser thing just lets the tea flow. It takes way less tea and the flavor is way stronger. It's so good.
Oh, you've upgraded. You're on version 3.
Yeah, I'm going to highly recommend this. This is really fantastic.
All right, link in the show notes.
Now, the big important thing I want to talk about is I'm a follower of economic data. I'm obsessed generally with economic data. And there is a clear behavioral shift towards seeking value and making more strategic choices about where and when and how to dine out.
Hopefully less Chick-fil-A.
Even people that I talk to just randomly are like, boy, restaurants are due for a big reset. And we seem to be losing a lot of restaurants.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, which is always shocking.
Sure.
More cooking at home this year. And then the other thing is, like 5 days ago, the Today Show did this big story on how to fancy up Hamburger Helper.
Wait a minute. They want to fancy up Hamburger Helper? Like you put down like a nice tablecloth and you sprinkle some like chopped up chives on it?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I didn't watch that episode. Take notes.
Sales of Hamburger Helper have increased by 14.5% in the year leading up to August.
Oh, wow. But wasn't it featured on The Bear?
I like The Bear. There's some episodes I haven't seen.
I think part of it was like some kid was trying to like fancy up some Hamburger Helper, and I think it was featured on The Bear. So my hunch is it's probably due to both.
Yeah, sure.
Hamburger Helper sales going up is never a good outlook for the economy.
You never want to look at any one of these indicators by themselves because there can be things like The Bear has some episodes.
Sure.
So you have to be careful about those. Like sales of cardboard boxes are down.
Oh, that's not good. That's really not good.
A leading indicator to volume.
Everything made.
Being lower at Federal Express and UPS.
I mean, with the exception of like corn on the cob, name one thing you buy that doesn't come in a cardboard or paper box.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Pet shelters are beyond full and they're kind of operating in crisis mode because people have had to turn over their animals because they have housing instability or they don't have the money to feed their pets.
Well, that's sad. Maybe this is a 2 birds, 1 stone sort of thing where they should get together with the Hamburger Helper people. Maybe there's a...
Oh, no.
I don't know.
We're not going there.
I'm going to show myself out.
Let's run for our lives. Let's get to our headlines.
Definitely, please. Get me out of this.
U.S. to Taiwan, move your chip production or face China alone. The Trump administration is demanding Taiwan relocate 50% of its critical chip production to the U.S., a move experts call impossible or risk losing American military protection against a Chinese invasion. U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick argues that having 95% of the world's advanced chips made 9,000 miles away in Taiwan is a catastrophic national security risk. He's not wrong.
Yeah, holy crap. I agree with Lutnick for once. I'm going to mark this.
I know, right?
Let's see, September 29th. Okay.
He warns that if the U.S. loses access to the supply chain, its economy and military defense would be crippled.
He's right twice in a row?
Lutnick confirmed that his Herculean objective is to bring Taiwan's whole supply chain stateside, boosting U.S. production from 2% to 40%. The deal, however, is not natural for Taiwan, which would have to cede its dominant role in the long-running security that comes with the Silicon Shield. Lutnick contends that to continue protection, Taiwan must help the U.S. achieve reasonable self-sufficiency, promising a security guarantee for the remaining 50% of its production.
So this is just fascinating to me because first of all, this is a huge hole that we have, which we have been talking about now for numerous years.
Yes.
I've been trying to create policy around this. This is a real problem. I'm glad it's getting some more attention.
Sure.
I guess if I try to be optimistic about this.
We were trying to do it with a carrot and apparently now Lutnick wants to do it with a stick.
But hold on, let me take that stick apart here in a second. This is not an impossible task. This is possible. I would argue it's going to be a lot more possible.
Moving chip production to U.S.
Yes.
Moving 50% of the chips.
Yes.
It's still going to be so much cheaper to manufacture.
Of course.
You're going to have so many environmental problems. You're going to have so many labor problems.
Of course. I'm not saying it's impossible. Maybe it's impossible to do it cost effectively.
Yeah.
Maybe they cost 10x, but that shouldn't matter if it's a national security concern. You want to have this locally. So it is possible. The question is, to me, is it becomes a lot more possible if the folks that are doing the work are willing to do the work. Like that sure does seem to be a help. Now let's talk about the stick for a minute here that you mentioned.
Yes.
The stick here is do this or else.
Do this or we will not protect you if China comes and attacks you. And it's not if, it's when China comes to take you over.
Literally cutting off our nose to spite our face.
We can't let China. Yes.
This is the biggest bluff in the world.
It's not even a bluff. Anybody can see right through it.
Well, that's what I mean.
You can't leave Taiwan vulnerable.
There is no
full stop.
So they're basically saying, okay, we have 2% of the production. We need more. Okay, yeah, got it. But if China were to invade and then we go to 0, where we just have our 2% and that's it, that's not a tenable outcome.
No.
There's no way we could achieve that. I just think the usage of the shaking the stick here, rattling the saber is like
your credibility goes out the window. Yeah.
Every time you do that, the stick just gets a little smaller. People just go, oh, well, and how much smaller could this administration stick get?
Sure.
Here's the other thing about this that I think is just insane to think about. 2 parts.
Yeah.
One, you go, well, okay, we're not going to protect you now at the 95%, but we will protect you at the 50%.
Right.
Like what? No,
you have to protect them at the 95%. You have no choice.
But also, I mean, the fact that we want this whole thought experiment, if you want to call it that, I'm using the word thought very judiciously, is like, okay, we're not willing to protect you for this large amount, but if you get us 50%, then we're going to protect you. No, the whole point is self-sufficiency. You're talking about self-sufficiency, which implies we don't need to protect you. So you got to call it what it is.
At 50%, we certainly don't need to protect you.
Well, we probably still would, but
I don't trust the U.S. at all when they say things like that. Give us your nuclear weapons,
that's the bigger problem.
Ukraine.
Yeah. This is the Budapest Memorandum, right?
Yes.
We sat down in the mid-90s and looked a bunch of other folks in the eyes and said, hey, if you give up your nuclear weapons, don't worry, we got your back.
We'll protect you.
And
by that we meant we won't protect you.
You didn't read the fine print here. You see that little asterisk and that little footnote there? You got to look on the back side of the paper where it said, ha ha ha, psych. So I would, maybe before the Taiwanese agree to this, maybe they should ask some of their Ukrainian counterparts how that's working out for them so far.
The old psych clause.
The old psych clause. Yeah. Written in invisible ink. But look, this is a good goal. This is something we should really want. And we've tried to put this in play instead of with, again, as you said, with stick, with carrot, by encouraging them to put manufacturing by subsidizing, which I think is the better solution.
Much better way to do it.
What is your backup plan here? If they just say no, what's your backup plan?
You still have to defend them. You have no choice. Now you have no chips. You don't protect them and China takes them over. And now you have no chips.
But I got to believe they've got a different answer. Their answer is going to be like, well, we'll just go buy them from Micro Center. No. It's not how it works. I've been to Micro Center. They've got everything. It's like a Fry's. It's like a modern day Fry's. Resurrect Fry's Electronics. They have everything. Anyway, this, I like the idea. I don't like the execution. I am fascinated to see how this is going to play out. I do not think it's going to go the way I don't think this is going to be to our benefit.
Making chips in the U.S. is rough because making chips involves a lot of really harsh chemicals that stick around in the environment for a very long time.
Yeah.
By the way, making them in Taiwan doesn't make it any better. We're all drinking the same water. We're all breathing the same air. It's not like those things don't
Let's do it in Ohio.
Come over to the U.S. It just, we don't have to see them in our backyard. And so we kind of turn a blind eye.
Okay, so we build a dome over Ohio and we put everything in Ohio. And then we don't have to deal with the Reds or the Browns or any of those. They can all just play interleague in Ohio. Like, it solves a lot of problems.
From assistant to adversary, how a wrongful death suit forced ChatGPT's safety overhaul. OpenAI is currently shoring up ChatGPT's defenses, including parental controls and a new safety routing system, after a wave of user backlash and a wrongful death suit. The lawsuit alleges a teenage boy died by suicide after the chatbot repeatedly validated his delusional thinking instead of offering crisis support. In response, the new features allow parents to link accounts, set appropriate age limits, and even receive notifications if the system detects their child is in acute distress. While some welcome the long overdue standards, critics argue the dramatic scramble is a belated, minimum effort response to a critical and tragic failure of AI responsibility.
Okay, let's work from the bottom up. First of all, is this really minimum effort? This seems like more than minimum effort. Minimum effort would be the joke that I made earlier, where Meta's just like, what? No kids use our platform. Everything's fine.
Like Facebook, we'll get to it someday.
Yeah.
Sure.
So this isn't minimum effort. I actually think this is a pretty reasonable first stab at this.
I haven't seen it, but it does, from what I read, it does sound like they're kind of doing the right things. Those steps are the right steps. It really
sounds like they're trying to do the right thing. I feel like, if anything, they're going sort of above and beyond.
Yeah.
But okay, I get it. There are critics, and I also believe that they could do better. Certainly, you can always do better. Make some suggestions. What are the suggestions? My hunch is the suggestion will be rooted in, well, don't release the thing until you've got all these other things in play. I just don't think you can do that, right? Especially in this arms race where other folks are just not going to play by those rules. Mm-hmm. You kind of have to do both. And I that seems to be what they're doing here. So I'm pro that. Generally speaking, though, I would say, having to wait for user backlash and a wrongful death lawsuit, I'm glad that they've gotten there. I would like Tesla to take note because they've had both of those problems and they don't seem to be doing anything on that.
And haven't made any changes.
So like, if you really want to be critical of someone who's not doing things to make this better, maybe go look across the bay at the folks over in Fremont, because that's, or Austin, wherever the hell they're based now.
The routing system is designed to detect emotionally sensitive conversations and automatically switch mid-chat to ChatGPT 5 thinking, which the company sees as the best equipped model for high-stakes safety work, which is kind of cool.
I really like that as a construct of, like, they're basically pushing you into a model that they think is safer when it triggers one of these things. Do I think this is perfect? No. Do I think it should really just be open for everybody and you do what you want? Yes.
They're also sending your notifications to the parents and saying, you've got an issue.
But when you get to kids, it's a different animal, right? And I really think that's what they're trying to tackle here, is when you get to children, it's a different animal. And it is interesting to me to note that OpenAI is putting some of these protections in that I'm certain will have some privacy ramifications. Meanwhile, you have conversations conversational environments, right? Let's call them applications or iMessage or text, where you don't have these protections at all. And I realize that AI gets you there into a dangerous place a lot faster, but it is interesting to think about what would the world look like if I could have iMessage oversight on my kids. So when something that is happening that's really at risk to them, I get a notification. Again, huge privacy concerns to that. Huge. But it'd be interesting to think about that parents mode. Again, Apple hasn't really embraced this. Google hasn't really embraced that. So I look at OpenAI going, man, I think they're being more aggressive than the incumbents on trying to provide some protections here, as they should be.
I think all the other ones will scramble to catch up once they see this, because
for AI, right? You're saying
yes, for AI.
Yeah,
you
for
do,
sure.
You absolutely do not want to be on the bad side of that wrongful.
And this is pretty terrible. I read a little bit about this story. It's pretty terrible. But when you get people are going to want to hear that AI that reaffirms all the things that they believe. It drives me crazy when I'm asking like one of the AIs some topic and it's like, oh yeah, totally X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, you're wrong about this. And then it's like, oh yeah, sorry. I'm like, don't apologize. Just get it right. But like, it's just so eager to agree with me.
That's why you need sources. That's why it needs to list sources so you can verify. Is this really? What are your sources here?
But also like just have the model. And this is where I think five gets us a little closer to the goal. Have a model that doesn't just want to agree with me. Deprioritize agreeing with me. Prioritize giving me the truth. That's really what I care about.
Of course.
But you've got we have ecosystem after ecosystem now that is just these giant echo chambers where you hear what you want to hear. I don't want to hear what I want to hear. I want to hear the truth. I want to hear the answer.
Always.
Jack says I can't handle it, but I think I can.
OpenAI is developing these features, particularly the distress detection and response systems, in consultation with mental health professionals, including its expert council on well-being and AI and its global physician network.
Yeah.
That seems pretty responsible. I mean, that seems like a useful...
Well, yeah. And if it gets into one of these conversations that it thinks is overly sensitive, it promotes it to a group of humans to look at and go, oh, this is a concern. Again, how we're calling that not enough or bare minimum is beyond me, because to me, that's not bare minimum. Like that actually sounds pretty comprehensive.
I don't know, but let's take this step. I didn't know we were going to end up having kids listening and chatting with this thing and wanting to commit suicide either. You can't know everything that's going to happen in advance, but at the same time, once we see that it's going to happen, let's take the next step and see how far we can go. Maybe somebody has lots of good ideas for how to do all this.
Look, I think some of these aren't going to work well. That's the whole point. You got to iterate quick and figure out what works and what doesn't. But it's also worth noting this is part of their 120-day plan. Like they put it in a plan that's a couple months long and said, we're going to try to get through this quickly and make some real progress. That seems aggressive to me. So I'm glad they're doing this. I think
it's a few months, but it's not a long time, and it's actually got a deadline, which is impressive.
I see them as making a real effort. I don't want to be in the world of trying to make, feel like an OpenAI shill, but this does feel like this is a good effort. So I'm pro this, and I think this hopefully everyone else follows along suit, the other manufacturers.
Broadly, AI is a massive privacy violation.
100%. Broadly, the internet is a massive privacy violation. I'm not trying to diminish your point. I'm just saying, like, yes, all of it certainly is a privacy. Like using a credit card is a massive privacy violation.
It's completely possible to do it in a way that is not a privacy violation, but that's not the way it's done.
In less of I can't say not at all. I could say less of a privacy violation. Absolutely.
Well, you and I are both looking at AI solutions for our home assistant to control stuff around the house. And we're both only looking at solutions that are local.
Well, I'm looking at the one that just outsources it all to a guy in India, and he just makes the decisions. I feel like it's a good one.
Turn your lights on and off and things like that. Sure. No, it's great.
He wants to turn his lights on again. All right. The guy's got to get out of bed to answer my AI request. You're going to have localized AIs soon. I would still argue that helps the privacy concern, but doesn't negate it. You're still going to have all your data sitting on this thing. It's just harder to get now that it's on your local device as opposed to in some central store somewhere. But it's still a privacy concern.
And you don't know if someone, unless it's open source.
I know somebody lives it.
You don't know if it's all getting sent in whenever it connects to the internet.
I was literally reading the AT&T settlement from their breaches that were disclosed last year. I was reading the settlement because what else do you do at 2 a.m. when you can't sleep? In their settlement, if you want to get fees, you actually have to show a link between the exposure of your data from the breach.
Of course.
But like, how are you going to draw that line? So somebody opens a credit card in my name. Is that a clear line from the breach? Like you can't. Like, I don't know what that line would be. They're probably going to grant you some, percentage of your fees on that. But like, how do you even quantify your losses on that?
Right.
It's just such a mess. And that's AT&T data. Compared AT&T data to what I'm giving to an AI, right? It is what, 1% or 0.1%?
Vast difference.
Of what I'm giving to an AI? Anyway, that's the future that's coming.
Trump says TikTok should be tweaked to become 100% MAGA.
Yay!
President Trump has signed an executive order to finalize a deal for the U.S. sale of TikTok, ending the threat of a ban but raising new concerns about political influence. The agreement transfers majority control, including a powerful recommendation algorithm, to a consortium of American investors, reportedly including MAGA allies like Larry Ellison and Rupert Murdoch. When questioned about the app's future content, Trump quipped he would make the algorithm 100% MAGA if he could, though he insisted all philosophies would be treated fairly. momentarily. The move resolves national security concerns over Chinese control, only to spark fears of a domestic political bias on the app that's crucial for engaging young voters.
Okay, let's double click on this because there's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah.
First of all,
Yes.
nothing says engaging young voters and the young
Like 90-year-olds?
ecosystem to 90-year-old white men. Rupert Murdoch and Larry Ellison. Yes, that is
Cannot
exactly who
wait
I'd put
to
in
see
play.
Larry Ellison's new dances.
Cannot wait. Oh, man. Can you imagine? Please, I hope someone listening will generate some AI video of Larry and good old Rupee dancing together. That would be fantastic. I just can't lose the context on that. I think that is so funny that, like, yep, these are the guys that should be going to.
These are the guys.
I'm not convinced from what I've read about this.
Yes.
There's so many, I'm going to call them large holes. It's just really lack of clarity of how this works. I'm not sure anything that's been announced has actually resolved the national security risk that we see here.
Well, of course not.
The recommendation engine, the thing that we're most concerned about, it's unclear where that's going to live. They're like, oh, all the data will be hosted on Oracle Cloud. I'm like, okay, like,
Right.
I guess maybe that's a step in the right direction, right? I could poke a bunch of holes in that, but fine. It's better that it's here than not there. But you talk about the one thing that matters, which is that recommendation engine, and it's very unclear. The only thing I've seen was that ByteDance would provide a license to the U.S. entity. That's it.
Yeah.
A license for what? A binary that just like black box, stuff in, stuff out? Who knows?
Can I take a step back from that?
Sure, please.
She has not signed off on any of
Oh,
this
yeah,
sale.
yeah. That's another. Yeah,
This is the biggest.
just let him run around in circles.
Yes, he's just going to
100%.
drag this out and stonewall it.
If I had to wager, that's exactly what I'd wager on. This is just buy time, wait till the next thing, and then just have your Chinese click farm drop some more Epstein photos on Instagram.
Sure.
Spin that back up. They'll go find something else to chase down. Oh, you want to turn off TikTok? Okay, that sounds like a bad idea. Yeah, that's how I see this going down.
By the way, the speed with which those Epstein deflection things have been coming out has been increasing. Have you noticed the media can't even get out the full word Epstein?
Yeah.
They get out Epstein, and immediately it's like, Jimmy Kimmel's got to go off the air.
Yeah, yep.
So they're so fast, you barely say part of the word Epstein. You're telling a story about Epsom salts. You don't even get to the word salts. No. We're sending the military to Portland.
Keep Portland militarized. That's what it says. Yeah, no, everything's fine. We're fine.
So yeah, this TikTok
We just
thing
don't have a
is,
plan yet on this. I just want to see the plan. What's the plan? What are we doing here?
It's not really a problem until she signs off on it. She's not signing off on it. So the whole thing.
No, that's what I mean. But like
status quo for a very long time. If someday he were to sign off on it, yes. Look for Instagram and look for whatever other social media things that do similar things to Ascend.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I have this optimistic, very, I think, unrealistic vision that there's a yet to be deployed thing that's not the baggage of Instagram or YouTube Shorts.
It opens doors. It for sure opens doors. Although it's a lot easier to start something like Threads than it is to start over.
You've got the Instagram win behind you for sure. Oh, of course. Of
yes.
course. And maybe it's Meta. Again, I don't want to be rooting for Meta, but maybe it's Meta.
Threads a pretty good product, by the way. Threads is not an awful product yet.
Threads is a great product.
Yeah.
Anyway, this to me is almost like, I don't even know if we've taken a step in a direction. This is just like, yeah, okay. So we know Larry and Rupert. Like, what more do we really know? Not a lot.
We don't even know Larry and Rupert because she hasn't signed off on anything.
But at least like their names are in the running.
The guy who has to sign off on the sale is not talking.
We should, I wonder if one of the board members could be, what's that? The New York financier, Jeff Epsom Salt.
Tesla is urging drowsy drivers to use full self-driving. That could go very wrong. Tesla has quietly updated its software to actively encourage drowsy and inattentive drivers to engage the full self-driving beta feature. Experts warn that this is a dangerously misguided move, as the system requires the driver to remain fully attentive and ready to take over at any moment.
This is terrible. Like, I understand the concept of like, hey, it appears you're drowsy. We should turn on the self-driving system.
It's nice because you get to die in your sleep.
Great idea if it works. Exactly. That's the thing. Yeah. Experts are pretty clear that it's way better to die in your sleep than when you're awake.
Yeah.
So that's good to know. This is kind of like saying, hey, we notice you're sleepy. Don't worry. You have airbags. Like, this is not the right thing to communicate.
You have a driving system that, 8 times out of 10 is going to be fine.
Or not. We're not sure. 8 out of 10, it's either fine or not fine. We don't know which, but it's one or the other.
I don't think if you had a 20% chance of going down, you'd get on a commercial airplane.
They should just say, as it turns out, we delete all the data, so we don't actually know.
Exactly.
But probably. Whatever. I'm a Tesla hater.
But I think more of the world is becoming aware of what's going on with Tesla. Did you see the thing? Marquez Brownlee has canceled his order for the Tesla that never came.
Yeah, I love that. The Roadster that he ordered 7 years ago?
He had like $45,000 down payment or something on it. He had $5,000 for the reservation.
What's more nuts, he put $5,000 for the reservation, and then he had to post, I didn't remember this. I vaguely recall it now, but he had to post $50,000 a Tesla, I think in 2018 dollars.
Right.
And then he's like, oh, I'm pulling my order. He doesn't get the $50,000 back. He forfeits the $5,000 $5,000 reservation fee,
Which is crazy.
and gets the $45,000 back with zero anything, zero interest, zero upside.
There was no sign any car was coming.
And I love that on his show, one of his co-hosts was like, "Had you put that $50,000 into Tesla, what would you have now?" And he's like, "I don't know, probably 4 or 5x." They're like, "Nope, $750,000. I'm like, "Yeah, but the money that you would have made on Tesla was because you'd pumped $50,000 into Tesla on an interest-free loan. Like, that's part of where that came from. So you didn't get the upside for the value you helped create." But what's so nuts to me about this is if it was literally any other car company, BMW, GM, Audi, Mercedes,
Volkswagen Group.
Lotus, don't care, any of them. And I told you a story about me writing a $50,000 check to them.
No car comes.
And then 8 years goes by and I don't have an updated timeline, no car. And then I get my money back and they keep 10% and give me the rest with no upside. You would yell at me and at that company like,
"This is the biggest scam.
You're the biggest idiot in the world. This is the most grifty, scammy company in the world." And here we're just like, "Oh no, it's just Tesla. You don't understand."
Oh no, I'm not like that. I'm
the future.
I'm 100% on board with your grifty car company.
No, not you, but there's a whole bunch of people. And then when I bring it up, I'm a Tesla hater and I'm told that Tesla's going to be a $5 trillion company in the next, 3 years.
I'll take the under on that.
Well, okay. I mean, look, they've kept the grift going a lot longer than I thought. So,
okay, enough of the headlines. In fact, enough of the episode. We have to get out of here. Special thanks to our floor director, Tony Von Pervier.
Thanks, TVP.
We'll be back later this week with our big story, The Ignorance Machine, Silencing Science. Until then, thank you for listening to all this nonsense. I'm Jeff Parker.
I'm Stu Little.
I'm supposed to say some sort of goodbye here. Aloha.
I mean, I go for some shave ice right now.
Oh, I love shave ice. Do you get it with the cream, whatever that condensed milk is?
Sometimes.
That's so
sometimes. Sometimes when I'm feeling especially fat, yeah.
Anyway, aloha.
Aloha. Well, speaking of shave ice,
yes,
Jeff, how do you feel about shaving?
Well, as you can tell by the beard that I'm sporting, I don't think about it that often.
That's exactly why I wanted to highlight this, because clearly we're trying to tell you something. So I have good news for you. The new Mr. Whisk wet dry shaver from Panasonic.
Oh, Mr. Whisk.
Mr. Whisk.
That's just great.
From Panasonic is the only rechargeable battery-operated shaver that lets you shave wet or dry, with or without shaving cream.
Wow.
Using this Mr. Whisk with shaving cream not only reduces friction and makes shaving fast and close, but you'll also get the clean, fresh feeling that blade users like without risks of nicks and cuts.
But do I have risks of getting shocked?
Stay on the cue card. The new Panasonic Mr. Whisk Wet Dry Shaver. It lets you shave anywhere, anytime, indoors or out, with shaving cream or without. You see, Jeff, they put wet and dry right in the name.
I see it, and it still terrifies me.
It's the first and only electric shaver you can really work up a lather over.
Wow.
Panasonic, just slightly ahead of our time.
I love that tagline. That was their tagline for many, many years.
Right?
Just slightly ahead of our time. It was great.
So this is a little out of key for us, but it's a little bit of technology. I think the time is great. There's a reason I'm giving you this ad that you probably won't be able to figure out, but I will tell you here. First, I want you to tell me roughly when you think this ad is from. This is a hard one.
Well, I happen to know because I'm a fan of this business case. There was a man named Victor Kayam who bought the Remington microscreen. Do you remember this?
Okay. Yeah, of course.
And he did his own ads, and he said, "I like the shaver so much, I bought the whole company."
I remember those.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember those.
Yeah, it was absolutely brilliant. That was 79. And then a wet dry came after 79. I mean, because there was no wet dry at Remington. Yeah. So my guess is 79, give it, a handful of years, maybe 83. No idea.
Yeah, you're in the window. So I really like where this came from, this ad. The ad that I pulled this from was from the 1982 Fall Winter edition. So you're right in the window of the Playboy Guide on Electronic Entertainment.
Wow.
So Playboy apparently made an electronic entertainment that I've never even seen before.
Sure.
And let me tell you, the articles are great. Their cover story for this issue included How to Beat Donkey Kong, highest arcade scores known to man, add years to your old VCR, and my hands down favorite, and I'm not making this up, computers, exclamation point. For $100, you can be brilliant.
Wow.
This was literally on the cover of the Playboy Guide for Electronic Entertainment from 1982.
Wait, stop. How does $100 make me brilliant with a computer?
I have no idea. I couldn't get past the pictures, but it's in there somewhere. I'll put a link in the show notes and you can find it.
Fantastic.
But you were right in the window on time there. It is the absolute perfect time. I would have definitely got this wrong because I have no context for it.